Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. Just carrying on our build here from last night actually. Just going to do a bit more work on the medieval town square then. So last time out we managed to get a decent chunk of the structure built up. So I'll just bring it out sort of so you can see it a little bit better here. So this kind of represents basically one half of the build. Just have to be careful lifting because it hinges. So that's kind of got this little central tower here down the middle, and then the two little shops on the sides. We've got like a cheesemonger's on one side, and then on the other side is a little tapestry worker. A nice little brick built door and stuff on there. So, and then I'll show you around the back. So there's details of the way around. There's nice wee garden and everything out the back, some wee trees. And we've got a goat and a squirrel having a wonderful time there. So yeah, that's it anyway. So it's very cool. So that's how far we got anyway. So that kind of got us, I think, through 9 bags. And a good chunk of the way through the build. So I'm just going to set it here out of the way, and we're going to crack on now with sort of the next section of the build, which is a little outdoor bit, a little bit of detailing. We've got our next minifigure as well. So I think we've got a tree coming up, and a little, looks like a pond or something like that. So essentially bag 12 on too. So I think there's about 30 odd bags in total. So we're still a good bit to go. So yeah, this is predominantly a tree build here, but we do have another minifigure, slightly more sort of interesting and significant one here. Alright, open this bag. Just stick it out of the way. Hey Beltonic Bricks, how are you? Buzzing for the big store opening this week, are we? Vehicles and spaceships. Do you know what? That's the joys of Lego, isn't it? I think there's something there for everyone. I personally don't really care much for vehicles and spaceships, interestingly enough. But then a lot of what I build is very much sort of geared towards sort of my layout. So I try to sort of build and buy sets that I can incorporate into my layout. So I do display a little bit. I do buy some sets for display, you know, which will kind of fall out of that remit, but for the most part it's very eclectic stuff, you know, that just I can sort of factor in. Yeah, probably not a bad idea. I suspect it'll be pretty busy. I am going to try and make it down. I actually got invited to the preview event tomorrow evening, which I'm really looking forward to. So I'll be going down tomorrow evening. I am also going to go down on Thursday morning, but I won't be able to make it for the ribbon cutting. I'll be a little bit later. I suspect maybe about sort of 10, half 10ish, but sort of wanted to get down anyway, just to sort of enjoy the buzz. So first things first, here we've got our first minifigure. It's actually a member of the wolf pack. So for all you Castle fans out there, we've got this chap. So only printing on the front of the face. Torso has front and rear printing, but I think it's just sort of standard. Here it is available on the pick-a-brick wall. So that's him anyway. You can see he's got that sort of, oh dear, per camera work. He's got that sort of gruff face, that wolf logo printed in the front, and then on the rear, again just a wee bit of detail on the torso. So that's our first kind of minifigure. He is meant to be wearing a cape, but I'm really funny with capes and stuff. I don't always like putting them on, so I'm just going to keep that in the box for now, and I'll come back to that another point. We'll just keep that with the box. I did the same. Funny enough, I built the Hocus Pocus set a couple of weeks ago, and all of the witches in it actually have capes, but I didn't put any of them on. I probably will at some point, but I don't know. I'm just a bit funny with stuff like that, and sometimes like to just leave it off. Right, now I've got a wee mini build here. So it's just a little stand for some logs for the wood cutter. So, but yeah, this bag looks to be predominantly sort of environmental stuff. Got a wee bit of rock work, a wee tree, and a few bits and pieces like that. So yeah, first up we've got a little sort of log to go on this little sort of log cache here, and then we have a hatch as well, and it just clips on. So again, just nice wee details. Lots of wee details in this set, to be honest. Some of the interiors initially seemed a bit sparse, but sort of the cheesemonger's house in particular was very impressive. So that's that little log pile there. So there's not much to it really, but you know, it's fairly obvious what it represents. And it's falling apart on me. Right, and we'll crack on with the main section of the build. So this is just the base of the tree then. It's all just kind of wee wedge plates and slopes and stuff like that. Yeah, I just kind of, like I said, started last week, and I did another live there last night, and I'm quite enjoying the build, so just got a wee bit of time, and I thought, you know what, I could get a wee bit more done. What else would you be doing on your day off, other than building Lego? Some quite nice detail going into the actual sort of base of the tree trunk here. Sort of nice spread on it. And you know, like a few different sort of slopes and wedges and sort of curve plates used to just kind of vary up the design a bit. It's very nice. Then we've got presumably what represents a little toadstool here. However, I'm not sure you can see one of the pieces that make it up. I'm going to knock them out of the bag. Oh, that comes out. I'll check my spares. There's always going to be one in the spares. It'll hopefully turn up at some point. So yeah, got a wee mushroom or something then at the base of the tree. Hey Lego Breakfast, how are you? How are you keeping today? Thanks for dropping by, thanks for saying hello. Make sure you give the stream a wee thumbs up as well. Alright, so loads more wee details here. So there's a wee bit of water, and then there's sort of a little bit of sort of water planting going on here. Right on the edge. And some few more little wedge pieces again, just adding just little levels, I suppose. It just makes it a touch more interesting, really, doesn't it? Rather than just having a lot of flat surface. And then a couple of the sort of clear trans pieces as well. Again, just representing water. A nice lime green frog. There he is for everyone, quite hard to. There he goes. There we go. Yeah, a little Kermit there. I'll just pop in then. So he looks like he's just about to leap into the water. And then just a couple more wee toadstools. It is this set here. So it's the medieval town square from the Lego Icons range. Set number 10332. So I think it's retiring at the end of this year. It's been out for, come out for the start of 24. So yeah, it's very good. I kind of want a nice wee medieval style town somewhere in my layout, and I thought this would make a really good sort of base for me to build on. I'm not incredibly creative myself, you know, when it comes to building, so I do like yeah, some of the you know, the Lego sets, and I thought this would be a good way to kind of sort of bulk up and start sort of laying out that little village. And I've got the Lion Knight's castle then, which I can sort of have in the background, and then this will just be like a little sort of town square toward the front of the town. And I'll sort of retain this kind of oldie style look. There's a bit of cobbling, but I will sort of build in sort of slightly more modern roads as well, just so there's like an infusion between old and new. Maybe make it like a touristy style town, you know, with people in character and dressed up and stuff. But yeah, it's a great set. It is quite big. It's what, 3,500 pieces, if I remember correctly, 3,300 pieces. So there's a lot to it. This kind of represents about one half of it, I suppose. Then there's a few wee market elements, which I can't really see them very well. They're all over here. They were built in the previous stream. So there's a few little bits and pieces, which are quite nice. So you can set up like a little market as well. And then there's the other side of the build, which is probably a bit more substantial. It has like a little guard tower and stuff like that. So yeah, Lego friends are funny. Lego frogs are funny. They pop up everywhere. I like them. So yeah, it's a very good set. I've been enjoying the build so far. We're not terribly far through it, to be honest. We're not even halfway. But some really good details in some of those little houses. I'll let you have a wee look if you're still there. Lego Breakfast. This is what we've built so far then. So I was just kind of sitting at the front of the shop there. So you've got like a wee sort of central tower in the middle there with a sort of winch for hoisting stuff up to the workshop on the top. And this is little cheesemongers on this side, and there's a little like fabric maker or fabric worker on this side. And then if we just spin it around, there's some nice detailing the whole way around it. Got this nice awning out the back, and then we've got a little sort of garden, a bit of a fence, and a few bits and pieces there just to give it a bit of character. And then we've got our good old goat and squirrel at the trough there. So yeah, it's a really good set. Really like it. So far anyway. I think the other side is really good too. Detail wise, interior, I'll not sort of show that at the minute because it's a bit awkward to get into it. There is sort of a reasonable amount of interior detail. The cheesemonger's side has a lot more detail than the rest of the build, I must say. However, it's pretty good. You getting lightsabers vibes? Those are not a huge difference really, is there? What's that zebra building at the minute? Yeah, anything cool on the go? I don't suspect it's going to take me too long to get through this. It's that old, you know, once I get started building something, I just don't know when to stop. I just kind of love to see the end result. Just make sure I'm putting this on the right way. There we go. So yeah, we're just sort of building up this tree trunk at the minute. I don't know how easy it is to see. I'm sort of struggling with my sort of streaming layout here. I don't have a lot of room, to be honest, in here. And last night I sort of was trying to stream from a slightly higher angle, but I don't think it was overly conducive to good viewing either. So do let me know in the comments if you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, if you've got a decent enough view of the build. It's a bit hard for me to tell, sort of just the way I'm sort of looking back on it here. Thinking of opening the NASA Discovery. Oh, I know. Do you know they're the sets that I'm most conflicted on. I think they're fab. I think they do a really good job. With those NASA sets, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure that I'm willing to start collecting them. I'm a bit of a completionist, you know, so whenever I start something I kind of want to have it all. And you know, there's quite a few sets really that have come through that forget my words out. That line. But they look class, they're so good. The Discovery would be a great one to build. I love the Saturn V and stuff like that. I think they're brilliant. And like sort of the way that some people have displayed those as well, you know, with the big plume of smoke and stuff coming out of it. Right, we've got some stickers here, so I'm going to go into sort of silent mode where I apply those. Just the two, so it shouldn't be too difficult. So number one, at least the ones I can't put on upside down. There's one yesterday that I was putting on last night. It was quite a substantial one. It was on like a 3x5 or 2x5 sort of clip piece representing like a big sort of section of fabric, and I put it on upside down. I did manage to get it back off again, thankfully, which was a bit of a relief, but not without a bit of huffing and puffing. So someone here looks like they're selling their goat for 10 whatever the currency is. So if anybody's looking at a goat, that little one in the backyard there I think is for sale. And then we've got a little wanted poster here as well. Kind of hard to make out exactly what faction this person represents. I'm gonna say it's a wolf pack. Remember the wolf pack, I think. And they just clip onto the side of the tree, so a couple of wee wanted stickers in on the side of the tree. Oh, I put one on upside down after everything I just said there. There we go. So that's the two we wanted stickers there anyway, or not wanted stickers. One's a wanted sticker and one is a goat for sale. So if anybody wants a goat, I suspect this shop here is going to cost you 10 Lego currency. So swing your money my way and I will get that goat sent on if you want them. Lego breakfast, and I'm trying to build a mini custom Gotham City with Wayne Manor, Wayne Tower, Arkham Asylum, Amusement Park. Oh my, the amusement park and Lego Batman 2, mini port on the corner I made the Justice League building but I wanted to win tower. That's a whole lot of building, my man. That sounds amazing. Have you this all sort of set up on a table as a layout? Is that kind of your plan? Clearly a big Batman fan, I presume. Sounds really good. There actually was a guy I was watching on YouTube. I forgot his name now. I want to say Gotham Bricks, who is building an enormous sort of Gotham City. I can't remember if that's his name or not. If I remember, I'll have a wee look sort of later on in the stream, see if I can find him. I do follow him, and his Gotham City tech is phenomenal. His build is brilliant, and it's all entirely custom. And sort of all plated up on like metal plates and stuff like that, and elevated railway and stuff like that. So it's really cool. Got one more bigger sticker going on here. So we've got this is a Beware sticker, and we've got some crazy dragon knight by the looks of it. I'm not familiar with all the Lego factions, but I don't recall a dragon knight. But that doesn't mean to say that I'm right. There we go. So that's the latest sticker there. So I'm not sure who that's meant to represent. Anyone who's more sort of in the know when it comes to the Lego castle theme might be able to shed me a bit of light on what that represents. 48 by 48 base plate. Oh, that's a really cool scale. It's nice because it's sort of a more sensible scale to work in. It can get a bit overwhelming if you go too big. I say I'm working on my layout. I have a Lego layout that I'm sort of loosely working on at the minute. It's sort of a full room basically, and you know, sometimes I walk into the room, I haven't really got very far with it, and sometimes I walk into the room and just the idea of it just kind of pisses me off even wanting to do it, because I've just got so much to do, and I know it'll be class when it's ready and done, but just getting there feels a bit overwhelming sometimes. So that seems like a really good scale to work on, and still big enough that you can get lots of detail into it, you know. I made a perfect Batman. I'd love to see these Lego Brickworks. Do you have your own channel, or I'd like to have a bit of your work? I'm not, like I said before, I love the idea of sort of creating all my own things, but I'm not the most creative of people. I suppose if I've got material, I can work off material, but I sort of lack the more sort of creative aspect. I'm not great at coming up with ideas and putting them sort of into practice. So that's why I sort of enjoy building sets. I do then like sometimes, you know, playing around a wee bit with sets and sort of giving them a wee bit of a spin, if you will. But it's definitely not something that I'm particularly good at. I also just need to concentrate on what I'm doing here, because I'm putting some bits of foliage together here, and if I don't pay attention, the tree's going to look like absolute garbage. I think I'm doing this right. The only thing, oh no, it's okay. I thought I'd lost pieces left over, but I've just determined where they belong. And the Batmobile, that looks like a Jeep. Oh, that's class. Sounds cool. I actually would love to, why did this not go together? There we go. I'd love to recreate some of the vehicles from Halo. I know there is somebody else, I can't remember what you call them, Brick Tech or something like that does do it, and I think they're class, but I'd love, like, my main focus is very much on my city and layout, but I would love to have, you know, just a little something on the side, you know, where I do something a wee bit more sort of fantasy based, and I love Halo, so I think, you know, if I could create something cool Halo based, it'd be really neat. But again, I'm not the best when it comes to designing these things. I always find I'm not great at working off the digital software. I find it a lot easier just kind of to work with parts, but it's also hard to sort of remember part availability when you're doing it that way too. So two last wee bits here, and I think there's someone at my door. 1 second. It's just the postman. I'll pick that up at another point. It's not for me, so I don't really care. Right, so we're almost finished this tree then. I'm just trying to sort of understand exactly how it's meant to be sitting. I think it's just like that. Got these wee bits here. And then that looks like it goes. Where does this go? Okay, that's the wrong way around, that's the problem. So it's meant to go like that. And then this goes on here. And then one last piece to pull together here. So it's a pretty decent tree actually. It's quite a nice build. It's not like, not hugely voluminous. For want of a better word, but not a bad design. A few wee spare pieces there. But it's just like a nice wee scene, you know, just to incorporate them into the sort of outside of the village. There we go. So that's the tree then in its entirety. Hope that lighting's okay. I might close that the blind behind so it's a bit easier to see. But there we've got the various beware and wanted stickers and just a nice wee sort of canopy of a tree. That's quite nice. So that'll just fit lovely into some of the other scenery. And that takes us to the end of book 1. So looking on this second book, so you could argue what we're halfway through the build now. On the bag number 13. And our latest minifigure. So this time we've got a nice female figure. I love this headpiece that just got. I don't know if I've ever seen this before. It's almost like a little head scarf, but I'll show you it now. So again, there's only detailing on one side of the face. We have printing on the front and back of the torso, and then it's like a skirt piece, but there's no detailing on it whatsoever. And then we've got this really cool headpiece. It's just like a head scarf, but it's yeah, it's nice. So let's see, I'll stick around this here. So that's the minifigure then. So it's just sort of like a regal looking woman. She is actually holding a wine glass in the little scene. So it's hard to see the print there. Let me just see if this helps. Quite a bit of light coming in the background there. This is a wee bit distracting. I don't know if this will make much of a difference or not, but there we go. So that's her, the lady then, with her nice little dress at the front and a little blouse underneath. Like I said, there's no detail whatsoever on the skirt, and then just a little bit of detail on the rear of the torso as well. So it's quite hard to see there, but the best I can do. You get the gist, you get the idea. And then, like I said, she's just carrying a wee wine glass, so she's obviously one of the better looked after citizens in this little market village. Okay, so we've got our next base plate here. And we're starting off with a wee bit of brickwork, which is nice. Got a wee wedge plate. So like I said, there's several little buildings kind of make up each side of the market square, if you want to call it that. And they're all hinged, you know, so they can be sort of presented kind of opened out, so you've got like more of a facade style layout, or you can hinge them together so you've got more enclosed buildings, which I think is how I'll have them. So that's how this is sitting in the front. If anybody wants to see what I've built up to now, it is just down the front of the shot here, but I can absolutely show you that. Just let me know in the comments if you want me to give you sort of a wee overview of the section that we've built up to now. But it is very cool. It's a really nice build. I wasn't overly impressed with it as I was going through, but I think sort of once it was completed and all come together, it just looks a whole lot better. For anyone that is just joining in, so we're building one of the Lego Icon sets. It's set number 10332, I think. Yeah, 10332 is the medieval town square. So it's a set from last year, which is retiring this year. So if anyone sort of is looking at it here now thinking, oh, that's cool, I would absolutely encourage you to get your hands on it. I think if you're based in the UK, it is currently on sale. I want to say John Lewis, but don't quote me fully on that. But I think it's maybe for sale on John Lewis at the minute, so you can get it discounted. I would absolutely recommend sort of picking it up sooner rather than later. I don't know how this one will do in the aftermarket, but the Castle line generally performs quite well. There's a real appetite for it, and when these sets retire, there's usually enough demand, you know, to sort of inflate the price a little bit. So I would absolutely recommend getting your hands on it now if you want it. Afif Akmari, hi, how are you? Thanks for dropping by and saying hello. Hope you're well. Welcome to the chat. So we're just doing a little bit more tile work. So this one's going to take a little bit longer because it's all 1x1s. I'm just using the brick separator just to kind of straighten them up a wee bit here as I'm going along. Yeah, so all 1x1 tiles, so it's quite fiddly and figgery. But I suppose texturally it'll look really good once it's done. Where's that piece? There we go. I'm not sure which building this is that we're actually working on at the minute. I presume it's this little, it looks like there's like a weapon maker or something on the end here. It does tell you actually in the manual, in the instruction manual, the first one, you know, I don't think it tells you each of the buildings and what they represent, but it gives you an overview of the different bits and pieces. There is a carpenter, and there's a cheese maker, and there's a tapestry maker, and there's various bits and pieces. So it does give you an overview in the instruction manual, so you kind of know what you're working with. Right, that's that all done. So just, I know it's not terribly exciting, but just this nice little bit of tile work then on the plate then, so that'll sort of give you the wee layout then of the floor of the building anyway. And it looks like we're going to start the brickwork around that then. Anyone that's sort of hiding in the stream there, if you're sort of watching along, do give it a wee thumbs up and a wee like. Just sort of helps promote the content to Lego fans, and I would really appreciate it. No obligation to subscribe, but you know, if you want to follow along and sort of keep up to date with what I'm up to. I will actually teetering with the idea of doing a live vlog. I don't know quite how I feel about that, but the Lego store in Belfast is due to open now on Thursday, and there's a preview evening on Wednesday, which I've secured an invite to. So I haven't quite decided how I'm going to approach it, but I'm thinking of doing a wee sort of vlog whilst I'm there, to give a wee bit of a rundown of the new location and what it has in store for all us folk in Northern Ireland who have had no access to a Lego store before now. So I'm super excited. Can't wait to get to it and see what it holds. That's not quite right. One of those. sweet sort of rock work built into the side of this building. Kind of reminds me, I was in Nottingham there very recently, and I love the way they had built some buildings into the sort of underneath the castle. There's like a bit of rock work and cliff, and they built sort of the buildings into the side of that, and some of these are quite reminiscent of that. Obviously they're sort of akin to that era, so they have that sort of aesthetic appeal, but they're very nice now. Just reminds me a little bit about that. Right out of the Robin Hood Bricks school of city building. If you haven't checked him out, his channel's fantastic. But he obviously is from Nottingham, and some of his builds are actually quite reminiscent of Nottingham and how it looks, so definitely worth checking out. Okay, just a wee stairwell in to go on the outside of the build. So whenever it comes to me actually incorporating these into my layout, I will have to do a little bit of work to the bases, because I'm not going to be using a mills strictly speaking, but I will be sort of building in a mills fashion. So I'll need to make sure to integrate all of these sort of into a sort of layout that works. Thankfully these are all built on the plates, and that's kind of how, rather than base plates, and that's how I want to sort of build up my layout. I know sort of mills is built on the base plates, but I don't really like base plates. I like that. I know you can cut them and resize and do whatever you want, but I'm not really one for butchering things, and I like the flexibility you get with plates. So they come in all shapes and sizes, and you can sort of get a little bit more sort of creative with how they look on our layout. So that's certainly what I'll be doing. So these builds are great because they're already on sort of plates instead of base plates. So then just maybe working out how to sort of incorporate them into everything else that goes around. Just a wee bit of cobble in there then to sort of build up the little staircase then into this building. It's hard to get all the little plates and stuff aligned. And that's that then. I missed a few wee pieces in there. Get them in now before build up around and become too hard. There we go. And again, some nice little detail in here on the outside, just using sort of little snap bricks or modified bricks and little cheese wedges. It just gives a wee bit of sort of dimension and shape to the whole build, which is nice. That almost brings us to the end of this bag. A couple more wee pieces to go, and then we'll be moving on to bag number 14. We're getting through it nicely. There's not a huge amount of complexity to the builds, so they do come together quite easily and fairly quickly. There we go, and then just the usual couple of wee leftover plates and tiles and stuff. That's where we're up to then after that bag. So not a huge amount of progress, but we've kind of started getting a bit of wall up. We've got the little step to sort of transition you from outside to the inside, and then a wee bit of detailing sort of on the side of that as well. Bag 14 then, this will hopefully get us most of the way up to the roof level of this build. Got a lot of windows and doors and stuff here anyway, so it should get us a bit of the way up. Any viewers, just as a matter of interest, where are you all from? Obviously it's sort of middle of the day here in the UK, so it's about 3 o'clock, so I'm not working because I don't work on Tuesdays, but just always interesting to see where people are viewing from. Let us know in the comments anyway. Oh wow, we've actually got a printed tile in here, which is refreshing given the amount of stickers that we get in sets nowadays. And just some nice detailing around the window. I like how all the wee windows are sort of alcoved as well. They're kind of set back into the brickwork a little bit, which is nice. Again, it just adds a wee bit more dimension, you know, instead of having all these flat builds. So it just goes onto that side. That's one wall built up. Me oh my. Yes, no problem at all. Sorry about it. I'll get this into this scene as best I can. That's the box out then, so it's the medieval town square Lego Icons range set 10332. Bring it a wee bit closer just so you can. I know that'll not all fit in, but so that's the set anyway. It's very neat. It's been a good build so far, so we're a good chunk of the way through. And there's some really nice wee details, especially sort of hanging out. It is the town square, yeah. So as I was saying, I kind of in the box, like okay, the one on top of the guard tower. There's little flags all over. To be fair, there's little flags sort of hanging at the front of a lot of the shops as well. They're all stickers, but they're quite neat. But yes, I know the flag you're talking about. Yeah, I sort of want to have like a wee well, kind of the representation of a little kind of medieval village or town in my layout. So I thought this would be a really good sort of base set to kind of kick that into gear without me having to get super creative and come up with stuff myself, because I'm not super creative to put it bluntly. I love the Viking one as well. Yeah, I do have that. It's sitting upstairs in my pile of things to be built. I don't really know how. I suppose I could incorporate that into this build. It's similar in a way, isn't it? You know, it could be like a little harbour in the medieval village. It's just I somehow need to create like a fusion between medieval and modern, because it is I want it to sort of seamlessly fit into my layout, which is going to be generally modern, but I also just want to represent these sets and these themes as well. So I don't quite know how I will do that. I had thought I could maybe have like a model village style thing, you know, or you know something, you know, where it's sort of a nod to olden times, but I don't know. I need to kind of consider all of that. I really miss the 90s sets. There's some cool stuff. Do you know? It's funny. Like I obviously wasn't really massively into Lego. Well, I suppose I was in the 90s, but I was quite young, so maybe didn't appreciate it quite as much as I should. And I was never really massively into castles or pirates or anything like that. It was very much city and trains over my jams. So I never really appreciated these sets until probably more recently. I got the Lion Knight's Castle. That was actually when the Dublin Lego store opened. I got the Lion Knight's Castle and I just loved it. So I kind of thought, you know what, the Lion Knight's Castle will be, you know, the sort of main castle, if you will, or the main focal point of my little medieval village, and then, you know, have these bits and pieces then that go around it. I can't find the oh, there it is. Hey Cheese Man, how are you? Thanks for dropping by. I was going to get something like that. We try and build a moat and drawbridge. Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be really cool. There's so much you can do if you've got the creativity and the sort of the time and will, I suppose, as well. Like, alright, sorry, just concentrating getting that door handle on there. I kind of like how they've reimagined these older sets as well, and slightly more modern take on it. Right, there's a lot of dipping in the leftover pieces from earlier bags in these sets. So again, we've got another cool door to go on here then. Oh, it goes on the inside. Nice wee bit of arching around it. There we go. I'll give you a closer look up whenever I finish. There is. I'll try and give you. Let me see if I can show you this. Yes, I sort of regret. I've got rid of most of my Lego from when I was a kid. I had an airport until a little while ago, but just the sort of scale of those older sets doesn't really fit in with, you know, what I'm going forward, and I just couldn't make it work. And there was enough value in it that it made more sense for me just to sell it, and sort of reinvest the money into something more akin to what I want. But I do still have my Metroliner train, which is my sort of pride and joy of my collection. Right, I'm going to just try and show you a little bit of the interior of these sets. Like I say, they do sort of wedge open, so if I can do this in such a way, I'll take the roof off as well. So this is the little cheesemonger side, or not cheesemonger, cheesemaker. I don't know how well you can see that there, but you can see there's like a little chair, some tables with cheese on it. There's a little furnace and stuff burning with cheese being made on the side there. It's quite hard to see into it, but so I'll say there's not a huge amount of detail, but there's kind of enough to get the point across. And then on the other side, so this is a little tapestry maker, so it's hard to really show you this because the camera's on the wrong side of it. Don't really know how to do this. Let me see. I'll tip aside. I'll move the camera. So there's into there then, if you can see that. So that's the tapestry that I put the sticker onto upside down. And yeah, there's a few little details in there. I appreciate it's very dark. It's quite hard to see. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, there's like, again, a little table, a little oven. There's just sort of a hint of stuff rather than a ton of detail, but there's enough kind of to, you know, to make it interesting, I suppose. Yeah, the cheese factory's great. I quite like it. And then the cheese man has this little stall then, which was at the start, which obviously sits somewhere in the market, and you can see all his wares there. There's all sorts of cheese and some croissant bread as well, so some cool stuff there. I'm not a fan of cheese, so I won't be eating any of that. Even less a fan of plastic cheese. But yeah, it's very good. Good man, go for it. Oh, Gotham City's lost on me. I don't really know it terribly well, but Wayne Manor seems like a great place to start. You could get so much detail and interest into that, especially if you sort of go down into the, you know, the underground basement sections where, you know, Wayne is Batman or whatever. Excuse my ignorance when it comes to Batman. I'm not a big Batman fan. I don't know it terribly well, but I think Wayne Manor would be a great place to start. Anyone else in the chat there that knows a wee bit more about Batman and Spare Lego Brick first there, and tell them what to build, and then I want to see what you've actually built as well. Love hearing about stuff, but I particularly enjoy seeing it. So if you do sort of become inspired and start working on it, let us know what you get up to. Dross. A mountain, yeah, that would be cool. That's something I wish Lego would release. I know it's not Wayne Manor, but I'd love it if they would do Stark Manor, if that's what it's called. Whatever Tony Stark's funky oceanside cliff condo's called. I think that'd be a class build. Love to see that. There we go. This is coming together nicely. I'll just give you a wee look at this once. The only thing is, the mountain's going to take up a lot of space, and if you're working off 48 by 48, you're not going to have a huge amount of space left after sort of factoring in a mountain. But yeah, sort of going back to the sort of older Lego stuff, I've ended up getting rid of it all, or most of it, but I've kept my pride and joy, my Metroliner train, which for me is still the single best set that Lego have ever made. And it will feature heavily in my layout, although I've actually kind of come to the conclusion of late that I'd love to modernise it a little bit. I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not. I think oh, okay. Have you seen who was it? A guy called, what's his name? He's like a South African Scottish dude on YouTube, and he did a sort of mini scale Gotham City like that, which he took to some shows. I can't remember his name. So annoying. I'm great with this information. Definitely, again, if I can find it before I go off this here, I'll comment it down below. Again, I'm pretty sure I follow him or subscribe to him, but I just can't for the life of me remember what you call him. But yeah, he did something like that, and I think he displayed it. Did he maybe display it at Bricktastic in the UK? I'm not 100% sure. But it was neat, very neat. If you're after any inspiration or anything, it'd be good to sort of have a look at. So he also has like a full scale Lego city, but sort of on the side of that, he was building kind of this mini scale Gotham, which actually was really cool. Brickverse, your idea. Were you at Brickfest Chicago, me or me? It looks like an absolute blast, but it's just a little bit out of my way. I'll be friendly on Facebook with, or not Facebook, Instagram with a few people that sort of go to it and display that, and it just looks amazing. There's so many good creators out there, like there's no shortage of inspiration really. I'm not going to necessarily profess to be on one of them, but we all try. Right, so we're almost finished this bag. I actually thought this would have finished this little hut off in its entirety, but it's mostly just the downstairs. There's no sort of interior detailing or anything else of yet. It is thus far represented as an open back, but like I said, they're all hinged and they're open back until sort of the whole build comes together, and then they kind of all fold in on one another, and they do look significantly better at that point. I'm not really a huge fan of open back sets. Some really nice sort of handles and stuff here as well that go outside. No, it's very good. Once I'll sort of give a wee bit of an overview of kind of this building once I've finished it. I think it'll make a lot more sense when it's all completely done. No, I haven't been to any. Where I live, there isn't really much. There's kind of a reasonably biggish one in Dublin every year, but I work every Saturday, and all these things are sort of at weekends, and it's just really hard for me to get. There's a big one in Manchester in England every year, Bricktastic. And I really wanted to get that this year, but again, sort of work up in the way, but I'm really hoping that I can get to it next year if everything goes to plan. I don't think I'll be displaying or anything at them. I think I'd just be going, you know, to enjoy. Oh, that's cool. So this little print piece then, I think this is a Minecraft piece actually. But in this case it represents a chessboard. Now obviously given the scale of the set there's only 2 pieces to the chessboard, but there we go. Yeah, that's quite neat. So I think that's a Minecraft piece. Looks like it's off like a crafting table or something like that. So that's kind of our first little piece of interior, and that a guitar that goes in there as well, or a lute rather than the guitar, I suppose. And I don't know what this here represents. Oh, okay, it's like a keg. So this might be an inn. Oh yeah, and that's a little corner bench. Okay, this is good. And then we've just got like a keg going in here for beer or mead or whatever it was we were drinking in those days. And we've got a nice wee printed piece on here too. That goes there, and then this just feeds into the bottom. I think. What's going on here? I'm missing one piece. Okay. I think. Oh, hold on. I've just got a little bug to go on in here then. Ta-da. That's the end of that bag anyway. I'll let you have a wee look at what we've got. It's quite good. Worst thing that happens sometimes is when you need a piece but you use it all. I know that is one of the challenges, I suppose, isn't it? It's hard to have a big enough sort of catalogue of pieces really to allow you to do everything you need to do. I don't think there's an easy answer to that other than just pick stuff up as you go along and hope for the best that it's what you need. Alright, okay, so there we have the interior of this little build so far. So you can see we've got a wee bench in the corner there, in that side there with a little lute and a chessboard and a little table, and then on the other side we have the keg of beer or ale or mead or whatever it is. So yeah, this is obviously a little tavern of some sort that we're building here. And we're just cracking on now with the second layer of it. Again, like I said, there's not a lot of detail. It's quite subtle for the most part, but there's kind of enough just to represent what it is, you know, what it is and what it's trying to be, which I think is really good. You know, without sort of massively, because they're not the biggest interiors, so you don't want to overpopulate it too much, I suppose. Otherwise, it'll be kind of difficult to. Right, so this isn't overly modular either. The sort of the roof is fairly firmly pressed on there, but yeah, there's just enough detail to sort of give an impression of what it's representing and what's going on, which I think is quite nice. I don't know if any of you have built the Hocus Pocus house, but it was actually an instance where the level of detail is insane, but it's still not too much. The amount of stuff that went into it was absolutely unreal. It's massively taken aback by the level of detail in it. Very cool build. I'm not a huge Hocus Pocus fan or anything, so you don't necessarily need to be a big fan to sort of appreciate the set. You'd maybe get a bit more value out of the details in it because it was a little bit lost on me, but still class. I don't know how much more I'm going to do today. This was just meant to be like a wee quick sort of session. What time is it? It's 3:25, so I'll just kind of see where we get to be honest, as we're building our way through it. So again, we're using this snot technique to sort of add the bricks and plates and tiles sideways to create that nice vertical strip running through the brickwork, which is nice. Again, lovely colours here. So this technique is used quite heavily throughout all these little builds, just creating that kind of Tudor look, which is nice. And it's a good way of creating sort of external detailing without having to, you know, add extra layers, you know, to put plates and stuff on the outside and things like that. Tad repetitive, but two more to go. There we go. And then, I don't know what, I've got some like wee mantles or something going on here. And then yeah, just a few plates over the top then to just kind of hold it all in place. And there is still a wee bit of movement because it's kind of just built on the tiles and it's only fixed at one side. So it can move about a little bit. But sort of once the rest of the structure's in place, then it kind of ties it in a bit better. Righty-ho. And I'll just add some nice wee detail onto the underside of these window ledges here as well then. So that's kind of how the front of the upstairs is looking now. It's really nice. Some nice details there. Sorry about the shadows again, the lighting's not fantastic. And then we're just going to do some interior detailing then. So this must be like a little sort of cooking area or something. Yeah, so it looks like a little cooker then, so there's a wee door and all goes in the front of it, a wee brick built door that opens up. And it just clips onto one of these modified bricks with a clip on it. This is obviously where all the nice hearty meals are made for the nights and so forth when they come back after a hard day's whatever it is they do, killing dragons. There we go, just so that you can just kind of see there maybe. Is that wee oven there then, the wee door on it. Yeah, sometimes I have to resort to a knife, but yeah, I'm always a bit concerned as to, you know, the damage it potentially does to bricks. Generally fine, more often than not the brick separator does the job just fine. I suppose the key is to try and make as few mistakes as possible and then you don't need to use it. I've got another big bench of some sort in here. I don't know if this is a seating bench or a working bench. I'm guessing the fact it's upstairs in this sort of kitchen area that it's probably more likely a working bench. We'll find out in good time. We need to leave clearance for that to open. I think it goes there actually. Yeah. It just makes that oven door quite hard to open, but it does open. It's all a wee bit sort of tight in there. Okay, that's definitely a food prep area because we have all sorts of bits and pieces on here. I don't know what that represents. I've got a big crab. Oh. A big crab on there too. A few pots and pans. And then a little pail full of water. And then I've got a little, like right in the corner, just a wee barrel in the corner with some fish in it, and then it's just like a little wood cache or something here. Obviously, it's a little log-based cooker, so, or sort of a wood burner. We've just got a wee cache of wood here then as well. Just sits on there, and then just a wee bag as well, so that's nice. So yeah, we've got some nice detail in there on the upstairs, so you can see it's just a wee kitchen, wee food bench, got the wood, we've got some utensils and appliances and pots and pans and bits and pieces. Very good. Go with the port. Get the port done. Yes, I actually am considering buying the new Arkham Asylum set that's due out now. Is it the 1st of September? Possibly. I'm just going to wait and see if there's any good sort of gift of purchase with it though before I spend my hard-earned money, because it's quite expensive. And like I said, I'm not really massively into Batman, so I'm not sort of nostalgic towards it for any reason other than it's a nice build and it's an inverted modular and it'll sit really well within sort of part of my bed, I would imagine. But no, I think the dock is a good way, or the port is a good way to go. I try and get it all built, if it's not too much work. I actually getting really hungry. Laura? Where you going, alright? I'm just on a wee live here. I'm coming off my minute, alright? Emily's? What? No. Right, so this will probably be my last bag then. Yeah, I gotta finish up here. I got some nice wee progress. Do you know, I don't know if I have any particularly rare minifigures, certainly not ones that I know of. Not really a huge minifigure collector, believe it or not. I suppose if I look at some of the rare sets I have, that might kind of indicate some of the rare minifigures. It's possibly, well, I have the Stranger Things Upside Down house, and I know like some of those figures do really well. So perhaps something from that line. Beyond that, I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, I don't collect minifigures, so I don't pay too much attention to. Well, I say I don't collect minifigures. I like minifigures. I like, you know, the build a minifigure and stuff like that, but I only get them to add a bit of character and whatnot to my layout. But I don't particularly care too much for any sort of one minifigure, so I'm not even sure. I'd say maybe the Stranger Things ones are probably some of the more rare ones, but again, I don't even know how much value they command in the market these days. What about yourself? Do you have any rare ones? Like, I'm not saying that within my collection there won't be something, you know, that is on the rare side. I don't really know. There might be something sitting within a set or something that I've picked up in a bulk that's rare and worth a bit, but I just wouldn't know the difference. Oh man, my stomach's growling like mad. I'm so hungry. You're definitely gonna call it a day after this, after I finish this bag. Or I might embarrass myself with my rumbly stomach. I'm not sure why I'm so hungry. It's not even close to dinner time, dude. Oh, wow, okay. What sets that? You obviously don't really collect any of the newer ones then? Or bother buying any of the newer ones? Ooh, some of the old Lego City sets are cool. I like a lot of the old sort of construction sets and sort of like town vehicles, you know, like sort of sweepers and bin lorries and stuff like that. They're a nice scale now. I do like the scale of the city sets now, but some of them are getting quite big and bulky. My gut feeling is it'll be the Harlan Wolf cranes. And it'll kind of annoy me a little bit because I had always wanted to build something Goliath myself. I've just never really got down to do it. Not like, I don't really know what scale I would have done now, but not like a super massive scale or anything, but I just always had this notion that I'd really like to build them, but I never got around to doing it. And I suspect they will have a Titanic. Now that won't be terribly original because that's just a Lego set, but yeah, I think the Harrington Wolf cranes are bound to feature. I can't really think of any other sort of really significant landmarks. Maybe they'll have like a big version of the fish, the big fish. Or perhaps like a really sort of positive, interesting, unique take on the peace walls or something. I don't know. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to seeing actually, and like I said, I will be gutted if it is the cranes, because that's something that I've been wanting to do for some time, and had I have done it, then I could have maybe had it displayed, there myself. Obviously if it was good enough. Like. Dude, you're flying through this. Settle yourself. Arkham Asylum has to be next. Oh yeah, the Titanic building right now. I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad shout. Rather than the actual Titanic itself. Yeah, it is cool. I like it. I've not actually ever done the tour of it, but I've worked in it. I kind of every year at Christmas I help like an events company. And they always do the Christmas lights in the Titanic building, so that's the only time I'm ever in it. Alright, so we've got a big turkey here. That's gonna hang somewhere on the wall. Don't quite know how yet. Okay, missed a couple of birds. There we go. Right, not much left to do now. On this build we have a little pie that's sitting out in the window ready to cool down, which looks lovely. I'm going to say it's a cutter pie. And then there's just a few wee sort of design elements then that go out the front. It's just like a couple of sort of weapons. Where are they going? Okay, there we go. One more to do. And then one last, oh no, there's a couple of pieces still. So it's just got like a helmet now then that sort of sits along the front of above the top of the door as well. And a nice little red thing you need to do for it. What do you call those? I might actually have got, you always get one spur, but it looks like I've got two spurs for some reason. And then that goes on there. The only thing I have here that bugger, we've got, ignore me, we've got one more sticker. There's another one of these front and back stickers. I always get a bit nervous when we're just concentrating to put them on. And then that kind of just wraps up this build. I think that's where I'm going to stop today then as well. Put it on the other way, make sure it's not upside down. So yeah, this is like a wee inn of some description. So yeah, clearly where the knights come to hang out after they've done away with their dragons and need some refreshment and sustenance. And how does this work? So that goes on like that. Okay, that's quite fancy. So we just used one of the handcuff elements. If I could get this in, I really hate these clip pieces because they're really, really hard to attach. There we go. Have I done that the wrong way around? No, something's not right here. So that goes like that. And that goes in there. And then that just attaches into the side. Right, sorry, that was a bit distracting. Okay, so that's kind of me finished with that little build anyway. So there's where we're up to so far. So we're quite a nice little build. We've got most of the upstairs done. We just need to work on a bit more of the outside and the roof. There's obviously all that detailing on the front above the door. I've got that nice little sign there, and I've just noticed my stickers on dreadfully. So I'll try and remedy that offline. And then there's just the interior, so you can see quite a bit of detailing upstairs. And yeah, busy little spot. We'll have to get some minifigures in there then to truly bring it to life. And yeah, we'll wrap the stream up there, I think. We've got through a good bit there of the build. So we're really happy with the progress. And just bring it down here again so you can just see there's where we're up to with that. And then there's that little build sitting down there with much better light. And there's the inside in a bit better detail. Okay, so as you can see, that I can't get it to focus. Is a bit squiffy, so I'm gonna have to go and change that because I don't like the way that's on. But I'll take it offline and do that myself. In the meantime, thank you very much for tuning in, and stay tuned for future streams when I'll get this build finished.